we are not anymore in the world where you have cloud and on premises.
No.
You just have Cloud Interlock.
This is the Nutanix Cloud Interlock podcast with your host, Michael Carr.
Welcome back to Nutanix Cloud Interlock, your place to be in the know on all things to enhance and improve your cloud journey. With me today is Maksim Malygin. Hey, mate, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Talk to me a little bit about how you see bimodal ops and customers having to have now a dedicated cloud team and a dedicated, or we'll call it a legacy infrastructure side, and what that's doing for their whole economic and operational efficiency.
So how you do it? You build another team. You gave them cloud mandate, the freedom to run it as they want.
Yeah.
And you don't touch them for a while, unless to the moment they will become mature enough as you're on premises, then you merge them. The biggest problem is you can't do that. No.
The fact that with those two dispersed teams, they don't talk to each other.
No.
They definitely usually have different reporting lines. So budgets are out of sync and things like that. And that's where we see costs start to come up, which is the security and compliance and governance. So now not only am I running different workloads in the cloud that I'm running on-prem and they're running with different support teams and infrastructure, I've got a different DR or BCP strategy. I have no security permissions that are uniform across cloud and across the edge and across the core. So we're seeing inherent lack of security, and with the rise in things like ransomware, we need to make sure that the security policies applied, which in theory are probably a little bit more mature from the infrastructure that you've been running for a long time because they've been bedded in, than the ones that are running in the cloud.
Yeah, that's true as well. On the security, instead of building two separate zones, right? You can build one single zone across the cloud and on premises, but you can only do that if you have a single team. You can only do this if you have the uniform policies and practices on security around your hybrid cloud. We've seen multiple examples of failed migrations from on-premises to the cloud and back, which failed just because of the security. Because you have to pass your SAT before you can move something to the production. But the controls and the way you create the security policies in those two environments, they're two separate. So why would you spend time and money building two separately, completely isolated zones instead of building one? That's always a question.
I was working with a customer in my previous role at AWS where they were looking at exactly that problem. So every application they modernized or tried to get into the cloud, it had to go through brand new security testing and penetration testing and everything else just to certify that it could run there. And I think that's probably one of the beauties of, if not the primary one, of our solution running inside the cloud, is that we can extend all of those security policies. So when you're migrating the workloads, we don't technically treat the cloud as the cloud. We treat the cloud as
another data center.
It's just another data center.
Yeah.
You don't manage it any differently. You can keep the same security policies and everything like that. So I think that's a critical factor for success when you're talking about speed and getting things in really fast. Now, we obviously saw a huge explosion of workloads moving into cloud or being created in cloud over COVID. It was a big 2-year period. We saw disruptions in supply chain. So even if you wanted to keep it on-prem, you couldn't do it. So we saw cloud usage spike. And then we saw what we're seeing now, back to sometimes even repatriation. Customers are saying, well, I need to measure the efficiency that I've got in the cloud. How are you seeing in your day-to-day interactions with customers around the measurement of cost in the cloud?
Well, I should say we have completely two opposite sides of spectrum. One set of the customers, they know what they're paying for.
Yeah.
But unsurprisingly, these customers are very well-established enterprises. So they only pay for something when they know what they will get in return. They know that how many EC2 instances they're running, for example, how many compute instances they're running. They know exactly what is running there, and they know exactly what is economic return on this. Right? So if you talk to these customers, the first question they would ask you, how would I save by consolidating this stuff? There is another side of the spectrum, and most likely that will be kind of enterprise that went cloud first.
Let's go.
Whatever we want to deploy in the cloud.
Yeah.
They have a problem not of not knowing how much each instances cost. They have a problem of not knowing what the hell is running over there. Now, if you look at the cloud and where they're making their business focus as of today, it's not compute instances, right? It's not database instances. It's all the managed services around it. And that's where you're actually getting the return on quicker time to market from the cloud. The challenge with these companies who are not knowing what they're running is not though they spinning up a lot of new compute instances. It's all the managed services around that.
Yeah.
They given an access to that to the development teams, and they just go ahead and deploy whatever you want.
It's
right?
all good.
And then by the end of a month, boom, $1 million cost.
It's interesting because a lot of the times, and I often talk about decision deadlock when you're looking at those applications that you want to put into the cloud. And customers really get stuck because they just print off that CMDB list. Good luck if you've got an accurate one. I've seen customers stall for 12 to 18 months. Even one we were talking to a few weeks ago, they were at 4% of their target migration into cloud after 36 months. Now, if we go back to on-prem, if we said that we're 36 months behind on our schedule, I don't think many people...
Moving from DC1.
But then, that ROI against each application, you can measure that accurately if you've got a known state. And then you're looking at where you want to take it. What's the security and governance I want to put across? So you can actually measure it down to each individual app. And then you can say, well, this app is going to cost me 6 weeks of downtime, $100,000 to modernize. But I can move it over here. It's pretty static. I can just keep it running and it's not going to cost me $1. So, you're bringing in additional efficiency in that whole migration program, not just the running, not just the run state. One other one, when we talk about efficiency in the cloud, and you sort of brought it up with ROI on where to run it, how do I bring that back, is all I can remember for 15 years prior was, okay, how many VMs am I going to run on this piece of hardware?
Well, we brought a very interesting saying. Look 24 years back, in early 2000s. If you're the business unit owner and you need to run some compute, you will get to your IT team, right? And they'll tell you, oh, you would need to buy 5 servers and you would need to buy 5 GBoots to keep the data on, right? That will cost you $5,000 per server, and then another $10,000 per year to run it. Fast forward 20 years, beginning with COVID, you go to IT team and they say, I need to run these workloads. And they'll say, okay, cool, we'll just run it in the cloud. Here is your compute instance, and here is your blob storage or EBS storage, and that's how much it will cost you. Now, tell me what's the difference. We just moved from paying our IT teams and colocation provider per instance to paying cloud companies, cloud providers, and your IT teams per instance. Where is the savings?
They're not saving it.
Not saving. So 20 years of technology advancement, which allowed us to create cloud platforms where we, in theory, should have a highest consolidation rate possible and economy of scale, led us to the business model where we still pay for instance. And we can't optimize. Because you bought that server in 2000 and it got into Xeon, 32 gig of RAM, and you paid for it. And it's there till the moment it dies. Now, you buy the instance and you want to have a good price. So what do? You buy a commitment. So the challenge that we've seen at Nutanix, and the reason why we brought the best technology that we have in the data center to the cloud, is we want to bring this technology advancement back. We're bringing the scalability and controllability of instance and density back to the cloud providers and give it to the control to the customers to decide what is the density you need, how fast you want to scale, where you want to keep your data. And that's basically it. That's where we want our customers to be, and that's where we see the technology advancement for the next probably 3 to 5 years at least.
It's really critical as well that customers get back in control of that, and that they really take advantage, because you move to cloud, and I often say this, especially when customers say, well, I really need to repatriate back because I was so efficient running on premises 5 years ago before I made this move to cloud. They're all growing. Those traditional workloads, that they haven't gone away. They're still being used.
You still need to run a.
They're still there. You still got to run your business. Right. Yeah. But they've built all the cool stuff in the cloud. I've got a new data lake, and now I'm spread it across the world. So that's grown just as much, if not, it's grown faster than what they're doing on premises. So I think giving the customers that control to say, I need to run this more efficiency, I need to bring it over here. And another use case around right sizing was we were helping out a different customer who was talking about their need to have a 6-month wait to get hardware into their data center. And then we were saying, well, you just can build that over here. You don't need to do a conversion with Nutanix running in AWS, and then you can just bring it back on premises. So if it takes you 6 months to order your hardware, that doesn't matter anymore. But you can go back, you're in control of the workload, you're in control of the density and the maturity that you had over here. It's now in the cloud, and you're not really looking at it as cloud for those workloads anymore. You're just looking at it as one sort of control plane across where it's going to sit.
And the other benefit is you may have a cost allocation done right.
Yeah.
If you have a pre-commitment to your cloud vendor, go there for 6 months, then you can move back. Right. Now let's think about the repatriation.
Yeah.
Right. You have a commitment to the cloud vendor, and that's great. You have a commitment to a cloud provider. You can't get out quickly, but you want to repatriate because you feel it's safer, or you have a very predictable workload. There's millions of reasons why you want to move back. You've probably seen the customers who stuck there for years, right? Moving back could be equally difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be just as hard.
Yeah, just as hard.
Yeah.
Just as hard.
Yeah.
And it's all about how you keep your data. It's not about the compute. The compute is the same everywhere, right? It's how you keep your data and how you move your data. If you haven't built a common data plane around your hybrid cloud from the day one, when you move there, moving back will be very painful.
And I think, to go to bimodal is that when we look at that hybrid control plane that we're saying, hey, if you build it this way, then moving from the core or to the edge or to the cloud, this new microservice is available in AWS today, or it's now in Azure. Oh, hang on a minute. Now I want to do my LLMs. I want to go and use that in the cloud and do it in the cloud. So I'm going to move them all the way over. So because we had customers go and build, here's your separate cloud team, here's your separate on-prem team. They built it over here. There's no stretch. There's no uniformity across that control plane on the edge core cloud. They can't do it. So the challenge is exactly the same. So the decision deadlock and how to actually bring it into the cloud, you're just going to face the same thing again. So how does your ROI stack up to bring it back? It doesn't.
And we haven't even started, man.
No.
We haven't discussed disaster recovery and business continuity.
No.
Right? We haven't discussed the uniform architecture on both sides. We haven't discussed long-term backup. We haven't discussed millions of things we haven't touched on. That's why having 2 separate teams is not the thing anymore. And we have to give it. We wouldn't see GenAI where it is today without the cloud.
It's true.
Because you had to consolidate a vast amount of compute resources in one place just to make this first leap. Is this the way to move forward? Probably the answer is no. You have to have a technology team running the show across any location, edge, data center, or cloud, making sure that you just do it right.
Yeah.
You have a retail customer. For them, the most critical thing would be how quick the post.
Yeah, how quick's my transaction going to go through?
Yeah.
Is it stable? Is it up?
Is it stable? Is it up?
Yep.
But you may have another arm of retail business selling online, and for them, the latency to the end user device is the most critical. But what if it's the same customer? What if it's the same enterprise? Can that be 2 different teams?
Can't be.
Yeah. How they would connect back to the warehousing and ordering. So just think about it. We are not anymore in the world where you have cloud
No.
and on premises.
No.
You just have, you name it, Cloud Interlock.
Thanks for joining me for this episode of Nutanix Cloud Interlock. I hope you find the topic insightful as you embark on or enhance your cloud journey, and look for Nutanix to help you get your hybrid cloud done right. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and look out for the very next episode for Nutanix Cloud Interlock. Hit subscribe and like and all that stuff.